Right, so I'm just at the Kielder Water Birds of Prey Centre where we're going to come in and meet Ray, who's in charge here. Hi Ray.
Hi everybody.
Hi, how you doing?
Hope everybody's well.
Good.
Excellent. Welcome to the Bird of Prey Centre. The Bird of Prey Centre has been here now 23 years. We've got a vast variety of different birds of prey, from eagles, hawks, falcons, kites, owls. It's a must for people to come up and have a look and join in and see these magnificent creatures actually in flight. Come on, I'll show you around. As I say, on your right there, we've got a little peregrine, little immature peregrine falcon called Cruz. But at the moment, it's just sitting there. He's actually moulding. Now, what I mean by that is he's losing his first year's feathers, so the old feathers are pushing. Sorry, I'll start again. The new feathers are pushing the old feathers out. So in about another 2 months' time, he'll actually change colour dramatically, and then we'll start and fly him again. And it's a bird that we use obviously in demonstration. It's a male peregrine. Please remember, the male peregrine or your male birds of prey are a third smaller than your female.
Right, okay.
The next one we have is a fantastic black kite. This particular kite, his name is Arwen, who's actually 17 years old.
Wow, 17.
I've had Arwen since he was 10 days old. So he honestly thinks that I'm his dad. So with kites, the black kite incidentally is the cousin to the red kite. The red kite is bigger, slightly different colour, but the red kite has a very, very prominent fork tail, where the black kite has a wedge-shaped tail. But nevertheless, they work in exactly the same way. They love to soar, they love to get onto the thermals. Once they're in a thermal, they'll just stay in the sky all day. Like any bird of prey, once the thermal disappears, it becomes hard work, so they'll come and land. People think they love to fly, they don't.
Right,
Flying's
okay.
hard work, really, really
Wow.
hard work. But you can get in that heat, you get in a little bit of breeze, a little bit of heat, and they're just in the element. They really, really are. Another male, so obviously, as I mentioned before, your male is smaller than your female. Your kestrel.
Kestrel.
Immature male kestrel called Blue. Like all the birds we have, please remember, everything we have in here is bred in captivity. It's against the law to take any bird from the wild. It's against the law to take any bird's egg from the wild. So we buy them. One or two we breed ourselves, but the vast majority of the collection in here have been captive bred. European kestrel, it's a bird that generally when you see them, they're hovering. You'll see them hovering along the roadsides. As I say, a lot of the time the motorways, you'll see them hovering, looking down, and bearing in mind, just to try and give you an indication as to how good their eyesight is, a lot of the time they'll be looking for insects, beetles and worms.
Wow.
But when the kestrel is looking for mice or voles, every time a mouse runs around the ground, it constantly urinates. And the urine trail of the mouse shows up with this species in ultraviolet. So they follow the ultraviolet urine trail, and then, providing it hasn't gone underground, obviously, they'll capture it, kill it and eat it. Remember, they don't kill for fun. On our left, we've got a beautiful hybrid falcon. This particular falcon, his name is Silver. He's coming up to 3 years old. It's a bird that we're just getting back into flying condition. Again, a male. Now, how we fly Silver is quite different to the other birds that we have in here. We actually fly him to a drone. So, obviously we get a drone. On the underside of the drone, we attach a line, and on the bottom of that line, we have what's called a lure. Now, attached to that lure is some food. So we put the drone up, around about 400 feet. The falcon will take off, make his way around, trying to get that bit of breeze, trying to get that bit of thermal. He'll get just above the drone, then hit the lure. Now as he hits the lure, it disengages from the drone, and on the end of the lure we have a parachute. And that parachute actually slows the falcon down as he's coming back down to the ground. Otherwise, there's times he could be a mile away, because they're such powerful birds, which means I've got to walk a mile to collect them. And I'm not getting any younger, so I prefer him as closely as possible to me when he's finished his flight. Saxon, Ger Peregrine. So what I mean by that is hybrid falcons.
Right.
Your Ger falcon,
Yeah.
the biggest falcon in the world,
Wow.
the fastest falcon in level flight. What I mean by that is in a straight line. Your peregrine falcon is the fastest living creature on the planet in a stoop, in a dive.
Wow.
So remember, the record for a peregrine in a stoop is 242 miles per hour.
Oh, that is fast.
Absolutely incredible creatures. He is certainly the best demonstration falcon that we fly in the Bird of Prey Centre. He's awesome. He's coming up to 17 years old now.
Wow.
Again, I've had Saxon since he was 9 weeks old.
Amazing.
And I've flown him all over the country.
Yeah.
Never, ever, ever let me down. He's a wonderful, wonderful species. A lot of people come into the Bird of Prey Centre, and one of the questions we're asked on a regular basis is, you've got the birds tied to the perches. Please remember, they're not tied to the perches to stop them flying away. They're tied to the perches to stop them eating one another. There is no love lost, and I mean that
Wow.
sincerely. The bigger bird will eat the smaller
Really?
bird.
Wow.
It's human nature. They will kill one another. So you've got to be very, very careful. One of the safest ways of housing a trained bird of prey, when I say that, I mean a bird that you're going to be flying, is to keep them tethered. If you were to put Saxon into an aviary, he flies at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. 2:45, he'd be starting to get excited. I know this sounds ridiculous. They know when they're going to be flown. So then he's going to start hitting the front of the aviary. If he constantly hits the front of the aviary, which he will do, because he knows he's going to be flown, he's either going to break feathers or possibly kill himself. So tethering the bird to a perch is the safest way. Short tether, you don't want a long tether, because once they start to jump forward, again, he knows when he's going to be flown. If the tether's too long, it can break the legs. So you've got to be very, very careful with them. So, but again, as you can see, he's magnificent.
Absolutely beautiful.
He is, isn't he?
Stunning.
He goes up to a lot of schools with me as well,
Right.
Saxon. So we've flown him, as I say, all over the country. Maybe not so good, these. A little bit more difficult to see, although you'll see her a
Yeah,
little bit
we can
better.
see her there.
What we've got here is, we've got a great grey owl called Aspen. Aspen 2 is 17 years old now. She's heavily in the mould. So
Right.
she certainly doesn't look her best. She really doesn't. She's moulding beautifully. She'll be back in demonstration round about, unfortunately it'll be round about the end of August. It's a female. It's a bird you find in America, Canada, and it's actually the largest owl in the world. Not the biggest, we're coming to that one in a moment, but it's the tallest owl in the world. A lot of people think all owls are nocturnal. They're not. And a good guideline for you as to when an owl will hunt is by the colour of their eyes. Orange eyes nocturnal, yellow eyes diurnal, so they hunt during the day, and dark eyes tend to be dawn and dusk. So try and remember, not every owl's nocturnal. The next bird we have here, out of all the birds we have, she's one of my favourites.
Yeah.
This is Cora.
Why, sure, your favourite? One of your
Oh,
favourites?
you've got to see her in demonstration to
Right,
appreciate what
okay.
she does. She's been hand-reared. I got her when she was 12 days old.
Oh,
Now, obviously, at 12 days old, they require heat. So I bring her to work during the day, but I've got to take her home at night. Now, when she was about 5-6 weeks old, obviously she's still at home with me. I would let her run around the dining room floor where I'd be, and then she'd play with various things on the floor, making quite a mess as well, mind. I've got to be truthful. And then once she was tired, like any baby, even a vulture, an owl, as when they're babies, they sleep an awful lot. And once you start to get tired, you come and lie on your feet and go to sleep. you just build up an amazing rapport with them. The black vulture, you find them in America. Aspen was the largest. This, oh, he's a bit shy there.
I scared him off.
That's the biggest species of owl in the world. The orange eyes, nocturnal. That particular species, or this particular species, used to be indigenous about 150 years ago. And then unfortunately, we wiped them all out. I can't say we don't have any of them breeding in this country, because they do, but they're more than likely escapees, to be honest with you. Or eagle owls that people have purchased, then they decide they no longer want them, and a lot of people release them. It's against the law, but they do it. Most of them perish, but obviously some of them do go on to, you know, to be successful in the wild. But a truly magnificent species. But yeah, a bit shy today.
Bit shy today.
He is.
Doesn't like the look of his.
We've got a crested serema there. A bird probably no one's ever heard of. This one she's called Carla. Just ready to come back out in demonstration. It's a bird you'd see in South America.
Right.
It is a female, but they're virtually flightless.
Okay.
They run around the ground, and when they're running and walking, obviously they're looking for insects, beetles, worms, snakes. They kick them to death. Now what we do when we use her in demonstration, generally, whether we can do that this year with everything that's gone on obviously, but normally we'd get a line of children, and we'd get the children to open their legs, and we'll get Carla to run through the children's legs. They absolutely love it. They are fascinated. She can run, get up to speeds of 30 miles an hour.
Wow, very fast.
Picking up a mouse, she'll put it in her beak, and she'll sort of batter it. She'll hit it from side to side until that mouse, the bones are broken, and then swallow it whole. So I know it's difficult to see there, but she hasn't got the hook beak of a normal bird of prey. But nevertheless, you know, they'll eat virtually anything, to be honest with you. Another imprint, another hand-reared bird. So once again, Carla thinks that I'm a dad.
Right.
Which is wonderful.
How long has she been here?
Carla will be 2 years old.
2 years.
We hopefully, excuse me, hopefully we're having a baby.
Oh wow.
Serema arriving here in about 4 weeks' time as well. So eventually we'll use them both in demonstration. And just pray they get on. There shouldn't be any reason why not, actually. Could I take you back down here?
Yeah, sure.
There's a couple I'd love you to meet.
Absolutely.
That's Cora as well. She's just enjoying the bit of sunshine. That's her making conversation.
Is it?
Truthful, just, come on Dad, feed me, give me something to eat. One of the birds that we have on display here is the golden eagle. Now I'm sure everyone's heard of the golden eagle. The golden eagle, resident in Scotland. At this moment in time, they're just starting to reintroduce them in the southern part of Scotland. Now I'm heavily involved with that scheme.
Okay.
But obviously because of what's happened, it means we can't do the school visits or anything like that at the moment. But Emerald here is a bird that we take around the schools.
Beautiful.
She is stunning.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. Amazing.
Very, very powerful. Remember, the golden eagle is the second largest eagle in this country.
Right.
A lot of people think it's the biggest, but the biggest is the white-tailed eagle.
Right.
Quite a bit bigger. The female,
Okay.
obviously, is quite a bit bigger than emerald. But these are very, very, very powerful. Fortunately, this one has a lovely nature. You can see on the bottom of her gravel there, she's got quite a bit of down coming out. She too is heavily in the mould at the moment.
Stunning. Absolutely stunning, Ray.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It is. I'd just like to show you this, if I could.
Yeah, sure.
What we have here is a beautiful southern white-faced owl.
Okay.
This particular owl, his name is Willow. It's an owl you find in South Africa generally, but little Willow here was actually bred in Wales.
Right.
Now again, typical of all the owls, if I want to handle an owl, or most importantly fly an owl, we buy them in between 10 and 21 days of age. So Willow thinks that I'm his dad. Lifespan in the wild for an owl of that size, if they're very, very, very lucky, is probably 3 years. And the main reason obviously is they generally get eaten.
Yeah.
Willow here is 18.
Really?
He's 18 years
Wow.
old. And hopefully he'll live maybe another, I'd love to think, in excess of 20 years.
Really? Another 20 years?
Not another 20 year, but I'd love to see him over the 20 year old.
Okay.
You know, the 20 years old. It's a boy, girl, again, a little bit bigger. Please remember, the feathers on top of the head are not their ears. The ears are at the side of their eyes. This is your owls, at the side of their eyes. The left ear is a little bit higher, it's also a little bit bigger. The sound hits the left ear just before the right, and it will pinpoint exactly where movement is. So it gives your owls what is called asymmetrical hearing. A metre before he goes down to grab his prey, he will close his eyes. So remember, all of your owls, close up, metre to nothing, they're virtually blind. They've got amazing long range vision, but close up, their eyesight's very, very poor. So it's the hearing that makes them the proficient hunters. They can turn their heads, showing off there, they can turn their heads 270 degrees.
Wow.
That's in either direction, but they can't move their eyes.
Okay.
Their eyes are fixed.
Right.
We've got 7 bones on our neck, they've got 14.
Wow.
And their bones are flexible, and that gives them the flexibility to turn their head. But they're beautiful, they're all beautiful.
Absolutely
Every one of
stunning,
them
right?
is beautiful,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. But some of them are a little bit more beautiful than the others. And he is one of our superstars.
Yeah.
Nurseries, schools, colleges, he's been all over. He literally has been all over. And remember, because he's imprinted, please remember the amount of work put into achieving something like this. This does not happen overnight.
Yeah.
And you know, that very, very difficult to rear. They don't make good pets, none of them do. A lot of people think, oh, you know, doesn't it look lovely? Yeah, they do. Remember, they eat chicks, mice, rat, quail, pheasant, occasional child. That was a joke, by the way. But so you know, they eat a varied diet, and you've got to be prepared to prepare that food, put the food up, willows unfed, 5 times a day at the moment. Over the winter, could be 10 or 12 days. Yeah, 12 times, sorry, per day. So they're very difficult. They also are weighed every day.
Right.
They're put on the scales, all of them are put on the scales on a daily basis, making sure they're not losing body weight. If they're losing body weight rapidly, you've got a problem. Get them to the vets. Alright?
Just one last question, Ray. What would you think to people who are wanting to come to Birds of Prey Centre?
It's fun. I mean, we've been here 23 years. You know, over the 23 years, we get thousands of people in. Wonderful to see people. The centre is about education, as I think I mentioned before. Conservation. We do most of our conservation work through the educational side of it. We also rehabilitate birds of prey that come in, get them back into the wild. We don't want them in here. Please remember, all our birds are carpet bred, but we need the public to come in, obviously, to keep the place up, you know, up and running. So, and again, you know, everybody's been through this year. You know, we do need people here to support, let's say, the birds.
Thank you very much, Ray.
No, thank you, it's a pleasure.
Thanks for your time, and as you can see, Ray's got a fantastic selection of birds, and it's a wonderful site here at Kielder. So I'd recommend coming here anytime.